Hey. Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Well, welcome back, guys. It's been a while for us as well.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I'm ready for this tonight.
I know. So, welcome back to Whisky and Doughnuts. You guys have been sort of asking for it, and we've been quite busy just with everything going on and try to keep both businesses going in the constant changing climate. So, looking forward to tonight. Actually, get a night of not thinking about that and
getting away from the terrible weather as well.
Totally. So excuses if we probably make some mistakes tonight. It has been a while, but mistakes are normally quite funny.
Just keep drinking.
Yeah. Some things don't change. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. So looking at the list of guys who bought tickets, thanks very much. You guys have continued to support it, which is great. But there's also some new names on the list as well. So before we start, we'll just do a little bit of housekeeping and kind of talk you through kind of how it works, what we do, then we'll get kind of stuck into it, really. So hopefully you all got your packs, and the whiskies were numbered 1 to 5. So if you put them in order, that would be great. And then with whiskey number 1, we're going to go with the wee green guy. Again, my descriptions are rubbish because...
We didn't even say Happy Halloween.
No, we didn't.
Oh, it's late, isn't it, though?
I know.
We're nearly
belated there. Happy Halloween.
Belated Happy Halloween.
Number 1, little green guy. Number 2, the eyeball. Number 3, the pumpkin. 4, the spider with the sugar. And then number 5 is the dark chocolate spider web guy. Got that right?
Yep.
Good. Basically the way it works is I'll kind of chat you through the whiskey. Nicole will chat you through the donuts. We'll just have some fun with it and just mix and match. So
lighthearted.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've not tried these pairings yet, so hopefully they work. Sometimes they don't, but we love when you guys start commenting. We can see the feeds kind of coming down there. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free just to pop them there, and that kind of keeps us going as well, which is great.
Yeah. Any questions, hit us up. And if you like any of the donuts or test them or anything like that's no offense taken, we want to know about it. So let us know.
Cool. So I think that's about it, really.
Yeah,
I think without further ado.
What are we on? We're on 50. So
cool.
That'll be us. I'm excited to try this first one.
Great.
It's been a big weekend.
I know, you've been flat out, to be fair. I went to see Nicole the other day and she hadn't been to bed in over a day. So
Labour of love is donuts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love going into these things, Ian.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So whiskey number 1 is this guy here. If you can see that. So Tobermory 12. So Tobermory, this is just their latest release. This came out in 2019. Tobermory, let's see if we can put this here.
Yeah.
Tobermory's had a bit of a strange, not strange, just very interesting actually history. So it was originally opened under the name of Ledyig, but you may have seen Ledyig still out now. So they still release Ledyig, but that's their sort of peated expression now. So Ledyig is basically peated Tobermory, and then Tobermory itself they tend to be unpeated. I was reading up on the distillery actually, and a couple of interesting things when they were closed. In 1930 they were closed and they were used as a power plant. And then in 1982, a local dairy company paid them to use their storage to store cheese.
Wow.
But there's been periods where they've been closed for a while. The latest one was 2017 to 2019. Thankfully, that was for a good reason. They're now owned by a company called Distell, South African company, and they have put lots of money into the distillery, and they were doing refurbishment. So hopefully it's onwards and upwards for Tobermory. Never been.
I was going to say somewhere I've never been.
Never been. We'd like to go to Mull and go to the distillery. Looks like a cool wee spot.
Maybe
so
things are back to normal.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So 12 years exclusively in bourbon casks, so quite a good one to start with. Quite light, quite fresh. I think we're at 46.3, which again, quite a nice strength. And people say it's sort of kind of appley, rich, a little bit of spice.
So we've gone down that same route with your little sort of Frankenstein number 1. We've got an apple compote. This is like our cinnamon apple compote inside, so it should hopefully match in quite well with this. And the glaze on the top should be a slightly sour apple. No? That again, that was nice. Cheers, guys. Fresh.
Yeah.
How old did you say it was? 12?
12 years old, yep. Completely matured in bourbon. And yeah, I don't know if anyone's been to Tobermory here, but if they do, let us know and give us some tips. I'd like to go. Looks cool. Ah, thanks. So who's this guy?
You.
It's me. Oh, I teed that up. Oh, wow. Well played.
That's Frankenstein.
Ah.
Obviously. Who's green with cats on his head?
Apparently, yeah.
Maybe after a night like tonight.
Oh, good.
I think the apple softens that whiskey a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
They just look so good when they're like half eaten and they're like
There was actually someone who posted tonight, I think maybe it's Alex is his name, and the shot of the photo looks like the wee guy's looking at the camera and he's like, no, I'm so scared. It's brilliant.
The Alex Arnott, is it?
Oh, he's a great poster. Thank you for your photos.
Very good photos as always. That was good. Try it with the whiskey again.
I feel like it tastes quite young.
The whiskey or the donut?
Whiskey.
The whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just when it's your first whiskey of the night as well. It's like there's always that kind of sharpness, and it's 46.3 is not. It's not low, you know. Maybe add a little bit of water. Jamie Shields, I almost missed the last bus to the ferry because I fell asleep after too many drams at Tobermory. Good story.
I love the whiskey stories. They still always has when whiskey's around.
Totally. Lovely. Thank you. So yeah, I think, as I say, feel free not to finish these guys. Just kind of mix and match as we go along. So
yeah, something people tend to do as well is keep a little bit of each whiskey and keep a little bit of each donut, and you can kind of pair them as you feel like they might be best paired, which is always quite a fun way of doing things.
Nice with water.
Yeah, and water is your friend in whiskey too. Never be afraid to add water.
People get a wee bit up themselves in that. But, you know, it's water and whiskey. There'll be water added to most whiskies, so yeah, feel free to add away.
Yeah, that's much better with water in it.
So I think it's good. And if you do like Tobermory, they do some. This is their kind of main kind of core release, the 12-year-old. But keep an eye out every year around. I think it's around September time. They do like annual releases, and they do like really good like Manzanilla casks. They do big sherry bombs. If you like smoky whiskey, Legic 18 is banging. It's basically like drinking car tires. It's like that burnt rubber kind of thing all over. So yeah, if you're into smoke, check out Legic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I'm ready for number 2.
Number 2.
I'll take nicely.
This is it. Like I always think, we need to talk more and slow it down, and then actually looking at the time, like no, we'll keep the pace, and that's when it goes south, which is good. Okay. Dram number 2. So this is a 11-year-old Glenrothes from Gordon MacPhail. So this is what's this range called? The Discovery range. So I think they do like a sherry, bourbon, and smoke is kind of the categories they're trying to do it. They've rebranded.
Yeah, of course, Discovery. Right?
Yeah, so they've got loads of different ranges, and they were always a little bit confusing. G&M with their Connoisseur's Choice, and they had loads of ranges. And I think their new ones are slightly clearer, and I think their packaging is much better as well. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, 11-year-old Glenrothes. So yeah, G&M are the oldest continuous.
Sorry.
No. That's good. That's good. Oldest continuous independent bottler. Cadenheads were there before them, but these guys, I don't know. I didn't actually look into that, but Cadenheads must have closed for a bit because they're the oldest continuous. But I'll check that out and let you know. And Glenrothes is one of those distilleries that, it kind of fitted the Halloween bill. I've been to Glenrothes. It's not open to the public, but it's a really eerie distillery. So there's a graveyard like right in the middle of the distillery, and like Scottish distilleries often have that sort of black fungus growing on the walls. Yeah. And that fungus has actually gone onto the tombstones. So all the tombstones in the graveyard are like black, and it's quite spooky. And there's like a very long story, which I've got it over there, but it's like I don't know. We did a wee trial run with it, and it's like 7-8 minutes, and it's like
It's a bit long.
It's a bit long-winded for the kind of short.
Try and give us a short.
The short version is that let me get the name. It's like a wedding speech that's a bit too much. So there's a guy called Byway. So they have a thing in Glenrothes where they have a toast to the ghost, and the owners of Glen Grant went to Zimbabwe. There was an African child who was looking quite poorly. They took him home back in those days, thinking that was a good thing, but he actually just worked for them. He was almost like a slave. But he ended up living like a good life in Glenrothes, and like was a goalkeeper for Rothes FC and everything. And long story short, loved it there, and got buried in the graveyard, which I think was, I mean, not
At Glenrothes.
Yeah, at Glenrothes. Like, it wasn't too long ago. Let's see, when was it? So Byway died in 1972. So not super long ago. Nobody knew his exact age, although he thought to have been around 80 years old. He left his life savings to Rothes Football Club. The ghost part's a bit weird. Just trying to think how much of this to read. So Byway was laid to rest in the grave overlooking the Glenrothes distillery. All seemed to be well with the situation. Then a new still house was opened in 1980. The new number 3 still was not performing as well as it should. Around this time, Byway began to make appearances in the Glenrothes distillery. One thing was for sure, Byway was not haunting the distillery in search of a dram. He never did develop a taste for the local whiskey. His favourite tipple was gin and tonic. So, what had upset the spirit and this modest, gentle African man? And yeah, no, because this is why we cut it out, because a lot of this. But they had the story of the Glenrothes apparition reach the ears of Cedric Wilson, Professor of Pharmacology at University College Dublin. He was also an expert in paranormal phenomena and ley lines. So I had to Google what ley lines was. I had no idea what it was. Apparently it's like a, I don't know, what's the way to describe it? Like I still don't know. It's like gravity and like gravity.
Architectural.
Yeah, points and like fields of, I don't know, gravity's the wrong word. Energy fields and stuff. Yeah, and if it gets interrupted, it can cause spirits and all that. I don't really believe in all that, but there's obviously a professor in it, and he does. So I'm really not selling this story, but yeah. So keep going. I'll get through the end of it now. Yeah, he was also an expert in paranormal phenomena and ley lines. I thought it was like something to do with still, but it's definitely not. Although the distillery management was highly skeptical, they gave the professor permission to visit the distillery during the distillery's silent period in August 1981. The visiting professor's suspicions were confirmed. The new build had damaged an important ley line. The line passed through Rothes Castle, the distillery, Rothes Cemetery, and from thence to the Colburn Stone to the Pictish Fort at Berg Head. Get through this, yeah. Iron rods were hammered into the damaged ley line to correct the energy flow. The ghost has never been seen since. So
there we go.
I've cut that from this and this and this, so you'll be glad to know that you won't be hearing any more about that.
I have a joke.
Go on.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Oh, God. How do we send people refunds?
Yeah. You didn't even let me finish.
Oh, what?
You've got to say
boo-hoo.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, I just laugh. I was like, this is bad. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, folks. Been out of practice. Are you sure Fife or So there is another story about Glenrothes.
Oh, is it 2 pages long?
No, okay. And it's at my expense. So friends of ours, Denver and Ben, came over to do some filming at Glenrothes.
Oh, I know this story.
Oh, bad one. So they were staying at my flat, and they travelled all the way from Australia to do this sort of marketing video for Glenrothes. And we ended up having beers at mine, and we're like, right, we need to get to Glenrothes for about 10 o'clock latest. So we hadn't seen each other in ages. The beers were flowing. Got to like quite late, 11, 12, 1. And we're like, oh, right, we're driving tomorrow. Like, let's get to bed. And we'll get up early and get to Glenrothes Distillery. So I typed in Glenrothes into Google Maps. And I was like, right, it's near Edinburgh. So follow me to Perth. We'll stop and get some breakfast. And then, yeah, we'll find our way from Perth. So pretty hungover, tired. They were jet lagged. Alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, 6:30. Jump in the cars, get down the road to Perth, stop in this weird little cafe, and I type into my phone directions to Glenrothes Distillery, and it was like, you are 2 hours 45 away from Glenrothes. travel north on the A9 towards Aviemore. And I was like, north? How am I going north? And I realised then that Glenrothes Distillery is not in Glenrothes. Glenrothes Distillery is in Rothes, which is near Elgin. And is about 45 minutes from Inverness. So we could have had a long lie, and we put ourselves in the back foot, and I paid for breakfast and had to have that conversation of saying, the one person from Scotland who's supposed to know about whiskey has got you lost. So yeah, that is, by the way, rambling on about Rothes too much here in Glenrothes, but let's try the dram. So
yeah, and the donut with this one is a berry jam, mixed berry jam. Jam's always a winner, and I think this is going to be pretty quite nicely. Oh,
yeah, so just sherry, yeah.
We'll all agree that my joke was best.
Yeah, I mean, mine couldn't have been worse. So
hey.
Boo-hoo. I mean, I guess
Listen, it's the simple things in life.
It was executed better than mine. I'll give you that. Bumbling through my speech.
Sorry, Brett.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm not doing well tonight, am I? No. Is this the granny's jam?
Mm-hmm. It's my granny's recipe, and she's just the angel of the earth. So she very kindly handed down a recipe for us, and ever since Perk, we'll bring the jam donut back around because it's definitely a top favorite.
Think about my donut just fell in my whiskey. I genuinely did.
Were you drunk when you arrived tonight, or what?
No, I think that's the problem. I was running late, and I've only had like a mouthful of beer.
Get it down, you.
Oh. I know.
I mean, what do we think about the pairing and the jam or donut? Let us know.
That jam is good.
Simon's coming out of you. That's always a good sign. When you're like,
Yeah. I'd tell you if I didn't like it, but that is good.
I like that. And the nose on this whiskey is really nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. I think it's quite affordable as well. I think it probably comes in around the sort of 40 to 50 pound a bottle mark, I imagine. Yeah, sometimes independent bottlers just release loads of stuff, and I feel G&M maybe did fall into that category for a while. You compare them to the likes of, say, Delphi, who are very selective in what they release.
Yeah.
G&M are definitely more, they do have some special stuff, but they also release lots of sort of everyday kind of whiskies that are affordable. So if you've not tried independent bottles before, they're a good place to start. Definitely easy to access and affordable, and yeah, generally normally pretty good. Other good indies, Carnmore, they've released their new range is great. You can see it at Woodwinters the other day, actually. It looks fantastic. Delphi, big fan of Cadenheads. Yeah, I guess they are an independent. Are they an independent bottler? What do you call them that? They're more like an independent blender. They don't really bottle like single casks of stuff, but they're independent, sort of. They're, an independent bottling blender. I think you put them under. One of a kind. Yeah.
Some term that.
Independent bottling bender.
Yeah,
cool. Okay, it looks like everyone's enjoying that. So
I finished mine.
So that's how you feel. Jeez, so
that's all you're chatting.
I know. Sorry, it was a long story on that. Okay.
What we got next?
Next we have an old favourite in the bar here, actually. Probably a favourite for most folk as well. So Glenmorangie 14 Quinta Rubin. So you guys might recognise the old bottle, which is like a black label. That was their Quinta Rubin 12-year-old. This one is 14. But they say it's pretty much the same. We've tried them side by side, and actually they're pretty similar. What they were saying is that actually I was quite surprised. I was expecting this to be more expensive than the 12, but what the guys were saying at Glenmorangie was that in the 12 there was loads of 14-year-old whiskey anyway. There was some 12, which is why they had to call it a 12, whereas now it's all sort of 14 upwards. So if you guys haven't been to Glenmorangie, recommend going. Really nice distillery, really well kept. It's one of those distilleries that if you're going to take some to like their first distillery, it's got that kind of wow factor, like really well kept grounds, and like
that's the one that they say the stills are as tall as a giraffe.
As a giraffe,
yes.
Yeah. Well, not any giraffe, a fully grown male giraffe.
Oh, of course it's male.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, really tall stills, and that actually is important when it comes to whiskey. So, what it means is there's loads of copper reflux. So, if you think of it like a giant kettle, and as the vapors are trying to get up and over the line arm, if it's quite shortened like this, it'll get up and over quite easily. If it's really tall and thin, what happens is they have to work harder, and there's more copper contact, and only the lightest kind of vapors get up and over. So that's why Glenmorangie, like the 10-year-old, I think is kind of like breakfast whiskey. You know, super easy, super delicate, and yeah, they're a really good distillery. Bill Lumsden is their sort of main man. He kind of came up with this sort of cask finishing idea. So you'll notice a lot of the range, they have like really interesting stuff like Sauternes casks, they have port casks, they have loads of sherry, and he came he's a biochemist. So he's all about the wood and how that impacts the whiskey. Fascinating guy. And yeah, I think his official title, I was looking at him earlier, in 2012 he was given the title of Director of Distilling, Whiskey Creation and Whiskey Stocks for Glenmorangie. So pretty impressive title. And yeah, this is a cracking dram. So sorry, I'm rambling on as always.
No worries. So the donut's a bit of a curveball. Came out funny. But we just thought with the Halloween theme we'd try and do something a bit different. So it's a pumpkin spice cheesecake. So we've kind of run with the nutmegs or spices that I feel like Quinta Rubin kind of has. Obviously pumpkin's a bit of a curveball, so this could be a hit or miss. So yeah, please feedback generously. Yeah,
I think the Quinta Rubin for me is like fruity, quite sweet. So this is going to be interesting.
Well, I'm not lying. I did find somewhere that said nutmeg, so I was like, well, that's the pumpkin then. Yeah, actually.
It tastes like those air fresheners smell. You know, like the winter spice ones you get.
Well, people typically say I can eat that.
Yeah.
Don't mean it literally.
No, but that's
in a good way.
In a good way.
Okay,
yeah,
good,
like
good.
it's like.
Yeah, you smell those candles, you're like, oh, I could eat that.
Yeah. Or you know it's this time of year when you smell and
cinnamon.
Yeah.
Candles in the house.
Yep. Let's try it with the whiskey.
Oh wow, what a donut from Mark Sweeney. Thank you.
I don't know if I love the combo. Love the donut. I don't know if I love the combo. Curveball it.
I'm going to try it. I think it goes really nice with the icing. I'm not 100% sold on the cheesecake myself.
The cheesecake's lovely though.
Yeah, you like it? Thank
you. What are people saying? Lovely combo there. Quality donut, well done. Cracking donut. What do I know? Everyone's loving this. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't work.
I know. Everyone's palate's different. It's okay.
Very true. There's no right and wrong. No right and wrong.
Apart when it comes to donuts, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
You're actually wrong.
Yeah, it looks like it. Everyone's, yeah.
I quite like that, actually. I think following the whiskey after I bite the donut really works.
Let me try again.
You are a cheesecake man, though, aren't you? So I thought I'd win you over with that one.
You have with the donut, for sure. You have. Yeah, that is lovely. Do you know what? Yeah.
Yes, another person who likes the filling. Yes, this is going down well. Good. Yes.
So, yeah, I feel like we're kind of racing through these actually. So, we're quite lucky actually for dram number 4. We've got something very exciting actually, but something that I don't want to give too much away, but been kind of waiting for this for years here. The distillery we're going to try next, there's quite a lot of connections with the staff here, family. Some of the staff have actually got casks at the distillery. And yeah, big fan of them and have been for a while. And they've just released their first single malt, and we are very lucky that we have been given some stock from them for us to try. So we've also got Graham coming on from the distillery. So Graham is in a different role now with the distillery. So yeah, I'll introduce the bottle, and then we'll get Graham to, well, I'll show you the bottle, and then we can get Graham to come on and tell us all about it. So here we go. If you kept an eye on our social media this week, you would have seen this. So this is the first ever single malt from Ardnamurchan. So yeah, this is pretty special stuff. If you just go on to Scotch Whisky Auctions right now, which is finishing tonight, and have a look at what these are going for, you'll realise how. So let me introduce you to Graham. So let's have a wee look, see if he's there. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. How are we doing?
Hey.
Good. How are yourself?
Yes, not too bad at all. Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Great. So I was just telling the guys, you probably heard my wee intro there, but do you want to tell us a little bit about your kind of way into whiskey and how you kind of got to Ardnamurchan, and then we can maybe chat about the dram.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I've had quite a long journey to get to where I am today. I kind of started off in bars like you guys, mainly in the cocktail side of things. In the sort of hospitality side, it was more hotels and things to begin with. In Glasgow, and then in Australia, and then back in Glasgow, and then I kind of wanted to see daylight again, so I ended up job in a retailer. So I was rehomed as a bartender to the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow, which I know you guys are both familiar with. Really good independent retailer of all things ABV'd, so they've got plenty of good things, you know. And I was there for a few years, really enjoyed my time, you know, really helped my knowledge, did a lot of tastings there without representing brands, which is always good, because you can be cynical and critical and really get underneath the spirits. And then after a few years, I joined Carnmore and Morrison and Mackay. So that was about 3 years ago now, in fact, a fair while. And yeah, I had a great time. You know, as you've already mentioned, they're an independent bottler. And way back when you first opened the bar, Matt, I was very quick to come and chap on your door.
Graham had a great tactic when he came to see me. And I think he knows what it is himself. And it worked every time. It worked every time. So he'd come in with a big bag jingling.
Yeah.
And he's like, have you got like 10 minutes? And like, knowing fine well it was not going to be 10 minutes. And he's like, I'm only here for today. It's got to be today. All right. Yep. And I'd come with, 9 or 10 different bottles ranging from £30 to 300. And by the time I got to the 300 one, I was like, that is delicious, isn't it? Yeah. And Graham, he wasn't doing that. Well, I know he might even do it on purpose. But it was always appreciated because I got to try some great whiskey.
I remember a few times I was in here and I was like, oh, there's Graham.
There's Graham. Like, I better pop in and say hello. Yeah.
And then, just at that point, I would say, so a case? Can we put you down for a case?
Yeah, and there was always, I'm not getting anything this month. I'm not getting anything this month or next month. Like, we've got enough. And all of a sudden, this box would arrive, Carnmore plaster all over it. Oh no, I've done it again.
Yeah, it was always a fun morning dramming. I was ashamed I always had to drive elsewhere afterwards. But
yeah,
I'm sure your bar didn't get a lot of paperwork done on those days.
No.
So yeah, after 3 years there, I was lucky enough just earlier this year to be offered to come on board with Adelphi and Ardnamurchan. So many of you will know Conal McKenzie, who's the sales director of our company. And strangely, we went to the same school. I'm an Inverness boy myself, so we both went to Culloden Academy and then did similar journeys around the industry without really knowing it. And we bumped into each other again in the Netherlands with the same importer over there. and we had a swell weekend of late night drammings over there, and yeah, we've got on like a house on fire ever since. So basically, yeah, 2 Culloden Gudgies now working for Ardnamurchan and Adelphi. So
Amazing.
it's great. You know, I'm delighted to be on board, and I joined at quite a crucial time. Clearly, after nearly 6 years of maturation, I kind of jokingly said I came in 98% through the way, just to take all the glory and say what an amazing whiskey we have made. So yeah, it's great. It's undoubtedly a huge milestone for the company, and as you mentioned, it's been selling out left, right, and centre. There were 16,000 bottles in this batch nearly, and while we knew we had an inkling it would be popular, we have been quite truly blown away by the demand.
You can't get it anywhere. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were great with us, and we've got some in the bar here. So when we actually reopen on Monday, we'll always try and have the bottles open on the bar for you guys to try. But yeah, I mean, good luck. Personally, I mean, there's not even much we can say to be like, oh, try here, because as you say, it's just to be totally honest, it is just completely sold out within minutes anywhere it goes.
That's one of the real reasons that we genuinely support bars for our releases. Adelphi's the same. It's so hard to come by. If we know that there's somewhere it's going to be open and readily available, then we will happily get behind that. Hopefully we kind of, to go on to a bit about the whiskey quickly, we kind of made a statement with the price of the first single malt release.
Yeah.
It's roughly £45 RRP. And we felt very strongly that although this is our first ever release, it is nonetheless a young single malt. It is non-age statement, but if you look on your bottles, you've got a QR code just on the back here. I'm in mirror, so I'm reversing my camera. Then you can scan that on your smartphones, and you'll be taken to a really detailed blockchain breakdown, which will tell you all sorts of stuff about the bottling. It'll tell you the type of barley we used, the fermentation times, the mashing temperatures, and really crucially for me, the entire cask recipe of what's in there. So although it's non-age statement, if the youngest whiskey is 5 years, the oldest is 6 years, which is as old as we have in the warehouse, and there's 53 casks in total. So what we have here is a mixture of 50-50 peated and unpeated spirit. We produce both at the distillery, and then we've got the majority is bourbon cask, 65% bourbon and 35% sherry. So it's quite a traditional mix. There's no tiny casks in there. There's not a lot of first fill. Not what we'd maybe call accelerant casks, which a lot of people are under pressure to do as new distilleries. So hopefully, this is just the first days for us, really. After so long, this is now us actually releasing and showing the world what it's like. So batch 2 will be on the way pretty soon. In fact,
great. I think it's gone down really well. I mean, I was lucky enough to get one of the wee virtual packs with Royal Mile whiskies when you guys did the first tasting, and it's phenomenal. So should we try it? And then we can try it with the donut as well.
Definitely.
So
the donut you have, sorry, I'll throw this out there and then you can carry on. Is just a dark chocolate ganache. On the inside and a wee cocoa sugar on the outside. So it'll be super rich and flavour.
Lovely.
Superb.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
First
Thanks for having me along.
Looking forward to choosing you in real time soon.
Yeah, it didn't escape me, you lording it over me with your tier 1 on Monday there, that I live down in Glasgow and we will be nowhere near tier 1 on Monday, I believe. But I have to say, I really do wish you guys luck. I know it's been a terrible time for bars and all of hospitality, so the prospect of anyone opening just now is good. So I hope it stays that way for as long as it can.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're opening tomorrow for the first time, so just sort of reduced hours from 5 till I think 10:30 now is when we can open till. So we're going to try that and then open at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, and just see how it goes. Really, do as much as we can. But I love that dram. There's like it's got a real sort of maritime coastal thing going on. I really, really like it, and It's not what I expected at all. I didn't really know what I'd expected from Ard American. I didn't know if I expected something super peaty or more like Isla style, or I didn't really know what to expect, but I love that. I think it's a really nice balanced dram. I'm tempted to say it reminds me of Talisker in a slight way, but that's only a good thing because I love Talisker. But
honestly, for me, that is music to my ears as well. That's nothing we would shy away from.
No.
We hope it stands on its own 2 feet, but it's kind of reminiscent of some. We are a West Coast distillery. For people who don't know where Ard American is, it is on the mainland. It's the furthest west coast you can get on the mainland, but it very much feels like an island. I know you've been there yourself recently, Matt, and for roughly the last hour to drive there, it is single track road, and it's absolutely spectacular. But it is very remote, quite a remote place to build a distillery, clearly. But we feel we could really put a stamp on being a Western Highland malt and really create that profile for ourselves, So, yeah, hopefully it's got quite a lot of depth. In our tasting notes, we touch upon things like oyster shells. You've got that briny sort of ozone quality to it. We talk strawberries with black pepper. I think there's a definite lots of reviews and tasting notes that we've seen so far from people really touch upon this berry fruit that you get from it, and then the spice from the black pepper. And we talk about bonfire embers as well. So I don't think it's got the medicinal TCP-led peat that you would find on Isla, but hopefully it's got that more of that ashy kind of smoke to it. But yeah, for me, I've tried it not to lord it over everyone else that's been struggling, but I've got a bottle. We've had a fair few drams of it now, and I'm really getting to grips with it, getting to know it properly over probably 10, 12 times now in the course of putting it together and now releasing it. So it's really good to finally be sharing it and seeing what people say. And I have to say, let me try the which is spectacular, but we'll see how that goes with it too.
So Colin's asking what strength, so 46.8, Colin. So
yeah, that sounds like something that the newly appointed sales guy would say, right? So how remiss of me. Sorry, Colin, but yeah, 46.8. That'll be the strength of all batches going forward. So for those of you that missed out on this one, we are going to create batch 2 literally as early as next week. We're going out to the distillery to lock ourselves up for about a week and know some casks, and we'll be aiming to replicate a similar volume, a similar release profile, and a similar price. So as a distillery, I think you guys are kind of leading the way in terms of the green distillery as such. If anyone is lucky enough to get a bottle, I think it's made from recycled toilet roll, I think is the packaging, is it? Yeah, the cardboard is we believe we're the first people to do 100% recycled cardboard in our boxes. But they do genuinely smell a little bit, especially when they're
pooey. They do not pooey, but like there's a funky smell when you open it. There is. Well, it is 100% recycled toilet roll. And
it smells like the tube from the toilet roll rather than the contents of said toilet roll.
Yeah.
But
that is amazing. That is such like tip the hat. Like
it's something we were very key on doing. We as you mentioned, we're a green distillery. We're 100% biomass fueled for all our heating and energy requirements. We use wood chip entirely, and if that wood chip fuel runs out or the boiler breaks, we truly have no backup. We don't have an oil supply we go on to, and it's all local wood and things like that. So yeah, there's plenty I could waffle on about all night. I was joking earlier that you gave me 15 minutes, and it's clearly been a long time since we hung out. I think that I can only talk for that amount of time. But yeah, hopefully that's going down well. I'm not sure if we got any comments coming in. I can't see the message, but
lots of people saying it's a tasty dram.
Tasty dram, that's superb. Top dram, love the pairing. Jamie Shields, I think he was commenting earlier actually, something about Pokemon, but I can't quite remember what. So I'm guessing you and Jamie have come across each other many times in the
I know Jamie very well. Yeah, he's a good guy. Hello, sir.
And loving the pairing. So I think the pairing works too. I think that dark chocolate and whiskey just kind of goes full stop, doesn't it? Yeah. So especially with a little bit of smoke, I think dark chocolate's a winner. So this is a Grenache.
Yeah, Grenache. Yeah.
So talk us through a Grenache.
Grenache. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically, layman terms, literally just boiled, warmed cream with melted chocolate, and you temper it. So you bring it back down to a certain temperature.
What does temper it mean?
Means cool it down, basically. So you pour it and spread it and take it back together and cool it down, and then you put it in the fridge, and then it sets, and then it's like a ice cream. You can kind of scoop it,
I've seen you do that actually.
So actually the Grenache we're using is vegan. We've used the vegan cream for this.
There you go.
Cool.
So you wouldn't really know, but it's really tasty. And that we use Calibut chocolate, which is kind of high spec chocolate, so it's super rich, and it's I don't think you could really eat a big donut with this in it because it'd be a lot. But
I think
maybe that's
challenge accepted.
But I thought it would work well, especially with a little bit of the smoke as well. But the dram is fantastic, honestly, Graham.
Hey, I'm glad you guys like it.
I'm really glad you got involved because I feel like it wouldn't have been the same if you weren't there, Graham. I think I can really taste that you've had an influence there.
Oh yeah, it was 9/10 of the way there, and I just put the finishing touches together. I was laughing, just to quickly say, on my very first day at the distillery, that was when they were putting batch 1 together. So I drove out. It's about 4 hours from Glasgow, roughly, I guess. And I got to the distillery, which is closed due to COVID, obviously, and nobody's there. So there's cars there, but I can't see anybody. I've never been there before. So where do I go? I hear through an open door in the warehouse, some clattering around, and I think that's the sound. My well-trained ear. That's the sound of a bung being released. Because I could hear the hammers going on. So I went up the stairs and I shouted, "Hello!" And Connell shouts back, "In you come!" And so I go around the corner. Gordon McKenzie, the distillery manager, is standing astride a cask. He's got his Valinch out with a big sample, and he's pouring it into a glass for Alex. And Connell comes marching down the aisle and hands me a glass and says, "Is that any good?" And I'm just like, "Oh no, pressure!" So literally, minute 1 walking into the warehouse. What do you think of this? And I'm saying, if I say it's good, do they think? If it's not good, do I tell them? But I have to say, thankfully, I was very reassured from literally moment 1, physically being there, to trying a lot of different samples. And we've got over 10,000 casks maturing away now, pumping out more each day. So the future is bright, I think. This is a little baby Ardnamurchan, but it'll be amazing to see it in the future.
Speaking of sort of single cask, is there plans to release single cask Ardnamurchan?
Yeah, there sure will be. Yeah. We will have one coming out before the end of the year. I can't say too much more. It might be a cask that begins in SH and ends in Eri, but it's. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to be wildly hard to track down. If you thought the general release was far less available. However, saying that, we have guaranteed to get you one, at least, Matt. So there will be one on the bar.
There'll be one here for sure.
Yeah, and the plans in the future are to do some really cool releases next year and beyond. For those that took part in the tasting pack, we had a wine cask from a champagne producer, being very careful about my terms.
Good. Yeah.
So that's a company called Paul Lanois in France that they only produce 10 casks of champagne a year, or 10 casks of wine that become champagne. And we get them all once they've finished using them, which is great. So literally in our warehouse just now, we only have 10 ready to go. And we emptied one into this tasting pack you referred to. And it went down so well that early next year-ish, maybe summertime, we'll be vatting together the other 9.
Amazing.
And we'll release them. So that's just a few indicators of what's to come. But I won't take over the tasting too much. I would say some great drams and great combos so far. and looking forward to the final one. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Graham. That was great.
Yeah,
and thanks
thanks
for
so much.
chatting us through Ardness. We'll sign you out. But yeah, that was great. So
Excited
thank you very much.
releases.
Yeah, come and see us with your big bag of Ardness.
Oh, I will. Yes. See you later, guys.
Advance, I can accidentally be here.
Okay, take
See
care.
you, bye.
Cheers.
See ya.
Great. So,
awesome.
yeah, nice. So, yeah, cracking whiskey.
Yeah, really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you can see why it's like, I think with Adelphi being the background of it, it's super collectible anyway, and people are just going, I said 16,000 bottles, and honestly,
just
getting a bottle is a nightmare. Yeah, so
you just leave that bottle beside me here, but I look after
it. I'll just put it over there. So yeah, great. So we'll move on to dram number 5, guys. So keeping things with another distillery we love. So Cubocken. I don't know if you guys have seen the rebrand of Cubocken, but I love it. I think it looks great. So they do 3. This is the signature. So this is a combination of bourbon, Oloroso, and virgin oak. They do Creation 1, which is Black Isle Imperial Stout casks, and then they have Creation 2, which is Japanese sochu. So, yeah, really cool. Cubocken,
bottle.
beautiful bottle. Really quite unusual as well. So Tomatin tend to make unpeated whiskey, and then in the winter, they kind of use peated malt and create Cubocken. And Cubocken is its own brand in itself, and I think rightfully so. Like, it's very different, and it's really, really good. It's all using kind of Scottish kind of peated barley, and yeah, they're quite experimental. So they play around with a lot of different casks. As I say, this one's a combination of bourbon, Oloroso, and virgin oak. So yeah, super affordable as well. I think again you're in the sort of 40-ish kind of pound mark, 40 to 50 maybe. But yeah, lightly sort of peated. I've got chocolate on my glass. That didn't work.
Lovely.
And yeah, now tell me about that.
Yeah,
lovely
okay.
donut.
I'll just distract our viewers from you making your glass there. So to finish, we have
there we go. We're back on form.
Oh god. Yes, to finish, we've got a coffee cream. So yeah, like an espresso, Perk espresso coffee. We use deer green coffee, whipped cream, and then a wee chocolate ganache on the outside to finish with some white chocolate drizzled to make our spiderweb.
Nice.
So I think the coffee aspect of this should hopefully make
coffee and smoke. It's always a good combo for me. I think we touched on it before, but it's that pairing thing. Like, how does it work? So sometimes if you have like complementary kind of flavors, they will work together, and other times contrasting stuff also works. And I think coffee and smoke is a good one. It's
one
like
of those ones, yeah.
Like coffee and a cigarette sort of thing that we joked about last time. But yeah, let's give it a go.
I'm big on coffee flavored.
Yeah, me too. It's like a giant coffee rebel. I don't taste like. It is. They're my favourite rebels, the coffee ones. I wish you get a pack of the ones you like.
Oh,
See the toffee ones. Get them in the bin.
toffee, it's the orange one.
Oh, the orange ones are brilliant.
Oh no.
Oh, come on now. The coffee and the orange ones.
You like the ones people don't like.
That's fine. I'll share a bag of rebels.
Yeah.
The problem is I've eaten so many rebels in my time. I know them by the shape. So they're supposed to be all the same, but they're not. Like,
they're not
the raisin
at all.
ones are smaller.
Oh yeah.
The minstrel ones are minstrel shape. And then the coffee and orange are the same. And the toffee is a little bit smaller. So sometimes I bite into them and they get hard toffee, and I hate that. Anyway, sorry. Whiskey, donuts.
Everyone else needs a rebel load, sort of description then.
yeah. But I think that works well together. I'm a fan of that.
You distract me with the rebel challenge. Try this again.
So talk me through how you get the coffee flavour in there. Bad timing. Go on.
Sorry. So, super simple. Just pour a shot of espresso through the coffee machine. Cool it down, because if you put something hot into cream, it'll split it.
Yep.
And then semi-whip your cream. Add a little bit of ice and sugar. add coffee bit by bit, and keep tasting. One of my favourite parts of baking is getting to taste everything, because you just, you know, a lot of people get frustrated with the way that we bake. People come in to help because there's no like 10 mils, 40 mils. This, you know, it's very much by taste and by knowledge and you know,
just experience and
yeah, so,
taste as you go. Yeah,
you gotta keep tasting. But no, I like that. It's good. I think it
yeah,
works well with this.
that's the favourite part of my job too. Yeah, it's all about tasting.
You know,
There's no right and wrong. Or you
Yep.
try them all. So I think
a bit of water in that maybe keep okay.
I like it. It's a different smoke to. It's not your Isla smoke.
No, it's not. No.
It's not even your island smoke. It's.
Do you want to talk a little bit about why, like, peat and smoke can be different?
Yeah. So for me, like, peat is more like so there's different types of peat as well. So like, for those who don't know, peat is basically condensed earth over about maybe 3,000 years. So in Isla, we haven't had any whiskies from Isla tonight, but they're traditionally, if you think of Lefroy, Lagavulins, Bowmores, very sort of earthy, almost medicinal, particularly Lefroy. And when you burn that peat to dry the barley, it lets off phenols. So depending on what has made that peat up, that will have an impact on the flavour. So traditionally on Isla, it's lots of sort of dead sea life. There's very little trees on Isla just because of the conditions. It's very windy. So that's a different makeup as to say inland peat or peat from maybe, so a good example is Highland Park. So Highland Park often say that they have like almost like a heather kind of smoke rather than peat. So they burn peat, they have big peat bogs, but if you try a Highland Park versus a Lefroy, I would describe Lefroy as peaty, and I'd describe Highland Park as sort of smoky. There's like a sort of floral smoke. So I describe smoke as, if you think of you maybe been at a barbecue or a bonfire, and then the next day you smell your jacket, that for me is smoke. And you know, it's soaked in, and that's kind of what the barley's doing. It's kind of soaking up all that kind of flavour or phenols. And then for me, peaty whiskey is more that, as I say, earthy, medicinal, almost kind of coastal, kind of what we were kind of talking about earlier, that sort of salty kind of rich. I'd say peaty is more rich than smoky, but again, that's just that, and there's a big flavour wheel of loads of spectrum. But I think when you're getting into whiskey, as long as you can differentiate between whiskey 5 and whiskey 1, you know, that's a great, you know, that's it doesn't, you don't get any bonus points for saying this is smoky or this is peaty, but it's, as you get more into it, you can try and figure out what you like. If you like, you love Talisker, I love Talisker. I would describe Talisker as smoky, not peaty.
Totally.
So
I always find it quite interesting because I'm big on peat and big on smoke. Like I love both of those elements. It's just nice to kind of, you know, people hear like about peat or about smoke, about barley. Sometimes it's not really clear on how that actually works, you know. So it's, it's good to know. Yeah,
a lot of people think it comes from like toasting the casks and stuff. You see them like charring the casks. But actually, it's all about drying the barley. And if you think, as I say, just like you soak the barley, underneath you have a heat source, and it depends on what you heat, that will make an impact on the flavour. So peated whiskies, as they age, they get less peaty or smoky, however you want to describe it, because at age 0, you've dried the barley, they will be as smoky and peaty as you can get. So lots of octomores and stuff, which are like, you know, hundreds of parts per million, all this sort of stuff. They're only like 5-6 years old. If you have a Lefroy 25 versus a Lefroy 10, what you'll find is the Lefroy 25 has taken on much more character from the wood, and the Lefroy 10 will still be smokier because it's taken on more character from when you've dried the barley. So, I think the good thing is if you like peated whiskey, there's great value in the kind of lower end market. You know, there's young Kulilas flying about 6, 7, 8 years old, which if you love smoke, great. You know, 40 quid a bottle. You won't get any whiskey that's smokier. You know, it's really good. So I think we've kind of finished up the pairings, but I think any mix and match, I think.
What's your favourite pairing so far without changing what we've done?
I'm actually tempted to say number 1.
Yeah, I think number 1 was a good one.
I really like number 1. I love the donut. I don't know if it's just because it's the first one. I love the jam donut and the number 2.
I'm going to say number 2 for me.
Number 2 isn't the pairing?
Yeah, I think the pairing number 2. What about you guys? Any favourite pairings out of there? Whiskey 5 is a bit nutty.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yes.
How are you, Caroline?
Yeah.
Long time no see.
I know.
Thanks, guys. Lovely reviews. I think number 2 is probably my favourite. But
Donut or
Dram
whiskey?
4 was gorgeous. The pairing. I think whiskey-wise, the nose on 2 was great. 4 was great.
4 is great just because
Yeah.
it's super special, and I think it's amazing for the age of it. You know, we're comparing that to whiskies that are maybe almost double the age, and sometimes, and it stands up in that lineup, no problem at all. Cubockin's obviously non-age statement, so we don't know how old that is, but I think there's a mix of makeup from different casks. I think the apple was the apple.
That's good actually. Yeah, I'm retasting that.
Yeah,
I'm like, actually, yeah.
I think number 1 for me, but yeah, that's what
You're just saying that because that little man looked like you. That's
he's. Do you know what? I just I really, normally I'm always like jam donuts my go-to, or the coffee one, but I think today
apple.
I think totally. Well, I think that's probably a good time to end. So I don't know any other news really. I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah,
so
so
you're open kind of as normal.
Yeah, 7 days a week at the moment. And we have reduced our hours and we're kind of ringing with them. So we're open 10 till 3, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And we're doing deliveries and things online, so you can get our website and get things online.
Good.
Next tasting.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about it, but you can put
Maybe
me on the spot there.
I don't know, maybe something around Christmas time.
Yeah, I think Christmas is probably a Christmas special. Probably is good. I think obviously everyone is. I hope everyone out there who's doing this is doing well. I think everyone's obviously been affected, and this has kind of gone much longer than we all thought it would.
Yeah.
Things
are only going to get a wee bit harder.
It seems like we're going in the right direction in the Highlands here, but then England goes into lockdown like overnight. So fingers crossed you guys are all doing well. Thank you.
Really appreciate your support.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Yeah, for coming in. It's quite nice. We switch off for an hour and a bit of fun. But at the end of the day, you guys are buying tickets and supporting it. So we know you guys are probably, everyone's been affected in a bit of a crap situation. So thank you again for supporting it. I think Christmas special is probably
the next big thing. Yeah,
we'll definitely do a Christmas special.
Up. A couple of
I'm
trying to get rid of dress up. I'm really trying.
I didn't answer that WhatsApp. Yeah. And then we came up with a good idea. Well, actually, we won't tell.
Don't say it because we can do it for
we
the
could do
Christmas.
it for the next one.
Yeah.
The Christmas one could be fine. Right. I think on that note, we will say goodnight and enjoy the rest of your whiskies, guys.
Yes. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to drop a message either of us.
Either or, Instagram, whatever. Just give us a wee line. But cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers. Good night.